Okay, in this video we'll see the large signal analysis of this differential amplifier. So in this particular video we will see the large signal analysis of the differential input. So let us try to find out what is the range of maximum and minimum differential voltage that we can apply so that this differential amplifier can still work like an amplifier. So let us consider a differential input. So as we know that differential input is one such input where V in 1 and V in 2 are different. Now you can see V in 1 is applied with VID, whereas V in 2 is grounded. So we have an input voltage which is different to each other. This is grounded. Here we have a voltage VID. Suppose if you write a KVL for this particular loop, so I'm just considering a loop which is running through this VID till the ground of this. You can see this is the loop what I'm considering. This is VID is equal to VGS1 and then minus of VGS2. You can see you started from ground and you are ending at ground point. This is the potential what you have. So I can write VID as equal to VGS1 minus of VGS2, because you can see the polarity of this is plus minus for this VGS1, this is minus, this is again plus minus for the VGS2. Since you are moving in this direction, this becomes minus VGS2. From this expression, suppose if you write if you make this VGS is this VID is equal to 0, that is the differential input voltage applied, if it is 0, then both the VGS will be same, which is VGS1 is equal to VGS2. What is this VGS1 is equal to VGS2 means in terms of DC analysis is whatever tail current you have will be divided equally between both the MOSFETs. It is M1 and M2 will have half of the tail current. Suppose if you are having 1 milliampere being applied as a tail current, you're going to have 0.5 milliampere flowing here, 0.5 milliampere flowing here, when VID is equal to 0, because you have same VGS. And of course we know that the MOSFETs are matched. So when I say matched, their W by L, KPs and VTOs are equal. Suppose assume that as per this equation, if your VID goes greater than 0, so naturally as per mathematical expression, then VGS1 has to be greater than VGS2, because this entire term has to be greater than 0. Suppose if I apply a voltage which is more than 0, assume that I'm applying 0.1, 0.2, 0.6 volts. In such case, you can see the VGS1 has to be greater than VGS2, which means that having same dimensions and what KP and all other parameters, if the value of VGS increases, we know that ID SAT is given by half Kp W by L VGS minus VTO whole square. So in this expression, okay, keeping all this in constant, suppose if you increase this VGS, naturally ID will going to increase. ID will going to increase. That's what will happen. Since VGS1 has to be greater than VGS2 with an increased value of VID, which is greater than 0, naturally the current flowing through this ID1 has to be more than ID2. So this will certainly happen whenever the value of VID is more than 0. Suppose assume that if you keep on increasing, assume that okay, here it was 0.5 milliampere and 0.5 milliampere, that is both the currents are same when VID is equal to 0. When you make this non-zero, so this may be 0.6 milliampere, and this has to be, of course, the summation of both the DC currents have to be equal to 1 milliampere. If this is increases by 0.1 milliampere, this has to reduce by 0.1 milliampere. You can see now this is 0.6 milliampere and 0.4 milliampere will be the currents flowing through ID1 and ID2. If you keep on increasing that, a stage may reach where you may end up with the entire tail current which was flowing through, which was half flowing through this and this, the entire tail current may simply pass through this. There may not be no current flowing through this. So that is, here this will become 0 milliampere. The entire tail current will flow through this only. So which is the ultimate position where if VID is too much, that is, if the value of VID is equal to VID max, that is the maximum limit of that VID, that is differential input voltage, then VGS1 is far greater than VGS2. How far is suppose if this VGS2 becomes equal to VTH, suppose assume that if this VGS becomes equal to VTH, can this term become 0? When this becomes 0, then ID will become 0, meaning as I'm increasing this, VGS of this is keep on reducing, and when this VGS becomes equal to VTH, the MOSFET will turn off, you will end up with 0 current. When the current is 0 here, the entire current of this tail current will now flow through this. So that's what happens here. You can see here ID1, which was half of ID1 was equal to half of half of I when ID was 0. When ID is equal to VID, when VID is equal to VID max, I will end up with ID1 is equal to the complete I will be flowing through this, but ID2 will become 0. So the entire tail current is steered towards the MOSFET 1, the MOSFET 2 current will be totally 0. So this is the ultimate condition that will happen if the VID is too much greater than, and if it becomes equal to VID max. Okay, now of course that's what we can just see it in your graphical representation also. Assume that this is my VID max. If this is my VID max, what happens is, so when VID is equal to 0, I will have ID1 is equal to ID2 is equal to half of I by 2. If you are increasing this, then ID1 is keep on increasing, whereas ID2 is keep on reducing, and it may so happen that it will become 0 current when this touches VID max, and this will reach I. You can see the entire current is flowing through. This is ID1, this is now ID2. So this becomes ID2. If you can see here, ID2 current has reduced to 0, whereas ID1 current has increased to ID1 current has increased to 0. So at each and every point, if you just take the algebraic sum of this and this, it will be equal to I. Which is true here also. Here the current is 0, here the current is I. Here it may be 80% of I, here it is 20% of I. If it is 60%, it is 40%. If it is 55%, then it is 45%, something like that. So that's how when VID is equal to 0, you will have 50% is flowing through both of them. Now the question is, what is that value which will make this equal to VD? So we are supposed to find out. And of course the same thing will happen for VID. If you are making it less than 0, then VGS1 will be less than VGS2, meaning ID1 will be less than ID2. A stage may reach when VID is equal to VID minimum, then this VGS1 will become VTH. Whenever this VGS1 becomes VTH, the current ceases here, because for the current to flow, VGS has to be greater than VTH. If it is equal to VTH, then ID1 is equal to 0. So what will be our ID2? ID2 is such that, so ID2 will be equal to I. ID2 is equal to I. So that's what happens if you make it VID negative, meaning suppose if this is minus VID min, you can see this, whatever ID1 was there, now ID1 will become 0 for a voltage which is equal to minus VID minimum, but this will become I. Whatever that was happening in the positive voltage, it will happen the reverse. Again, at each and every point, the summation of ID1 and ID2 will be equal to the tail current. So let us try to find out what is that value of VID max and what is that VID min, so that your MOSFET can go to the verge of VID. The current will going to totally steer towards either this or this. Okay, you can see the entire current will be steered to M1 for positive voltage of VID. For negative voltage of VID, the entire current is steered towards M2. The entire current will flow here, 0 current will flow through M1. So let us try to identify that value of VID which makes it happen. So let us consider if ID is equal to I by 2, we can write again the expression for the drain current as Kp by 2 W by L VGS minus VTO. Okay, let me write it as, this will be my expression, VGS minus VTO whole square. So we know that this is nothing but VOV. I will write ID is equal to I by 2, which is equal to Kp by 2 W by L VOV square. So from which I can write VOV, this 2 and 2 will go off. VOV is equal to I divided by Kp into W by L whole under root. So what is this VOV? If I want to define this VOV for this differential amplifier, VOV is the overdrive voltage for this MOSFET M1 or M2, provided the current flowing through that transistor is equal to I by 2. Current flowing through that is equal to I by 2. Suppose if the entire current flows through, the entire tail current of I flows through this, that is, instead of taking ID is equal to I by 2, if ID becomes equal to I, then what is the expression for my current? So again, that I is equal to Kp by 2 W by L VGS minus VTO whole square. So now you can see this is what, again, VGS minus VTO whole square. Now the current that is flowing through that transistor is now I instead of I by 2. So what I'll do now is, so I will try to find out what is the value of VGS that will make transistor as a current flowing through that transistor will be I. So what I'll do now here is, so I will write, okay, now can I write this as VGS is equal to, this is VGS for ID is equal to I. This is for VGS ID is equal to I. Can I write it as equal to VTO plus suppose if you redo it, this will be 2I divided by Kp into W. Correct? For this 2 will go here. I can write this as equal to 2I is equal to Kp W by L VGS minus VTO whole square. So this I can write it this way. Now we can see this VGS is equal to so and so. Now suppose if I write what is, again, same VGS for a ID is equal to I. See now, can I replace this particular term by this? Now what I'll do, can I rewrite this as equal to, I will rewrite this as something like this, VTO plus, I will take out this root 2 outside, I have taken out root 2 outside, and I will write it as I by Kp W by N. See now, this is the expression. What I'll have now. So, but what is actually this term? This is under root of I by Kp W by L. Is it not equal to VOV? So what I'll do now, VGS for a ID is equal to I is equal to VTO plus root 2 into VO, meaning the amount of gate to source voltage required for a current of I flowing here is given by VTO plus root 2 times VOV. What is this VOV? VOV is the overdrive voltage for the MOSFET to have a current of I by 2. So having this expression for VGS for a ID is equal to I, which is equal to VTO plus under root of 2 into VOV. So I can just come down here and then try to find out here. So assume that this VID is equal to VID max. So can we write the expression now? Here we have this. You can see here, when VID is equal to VID max, of course I will write the expression here. VID max is equal to VGS1 for ID1 is equal to I plus VGS2 for ID2 is equal to 0. I hope you are getting it. So whenever this voltage reaches the maximum limit, the entire current is flowing through this transistor. So that is the corresponding VGS is VGS1 for a ID of I, for a ID1 of I, plus the required voltage in this MOSFET to have, of course this is not plus, this is minus, the amount of VGS required to make the current here as 0. Current here as 0. You know that if VGS is equal to VTH, then the current becomes 0. So what I'll do now is I will write the expression where this VID max is equal to VGS1 minus VGS2. This max will always corresponds to ID1 is equal to I. This ID2 is equal to 0. ID2 is equal to 0. The question is, what is the corresponding value of VGS which makes ID1 is equal to ID? That's what we found here. It is this. This is the voltage. This is the value of VGS required to make ID is equal to I, which is given by VTO plus under root of 2 into VO into VO. This was the expression. This is the value of, sorry, this is the value of VGS required to have a current of ID is equal to I, which is given by VTO plus under root of 2 into VOV. That's what we have written for. That's what we have substituted for VGS1, minus what is the value of VGS2 required to make the current as 0. It is equal to VTO. It is equal, because if you write the expression ID is equal to half Kp W by L VGS minus VTO whole square, if I make this VGS is equal to VTO, does the current become 0? You can see this is saying 0 square will become 0, so ID will become 0. That is, when VGS becomes equal to VTO, of course when I say VGS, it is for the second transistor. When VGS2 becomes equal to VTO, ID2 becomes 0, which is the limit for maximum VID. So for VID max, my ID2 should become 0. The entire tail current should shift to the first transistor. So the corresponding voltage that should be there across VGS2, that is across the gate and source of second transistor, has to be VTO. Suppose if you solve this, then VID max becomes root 2 times VOV. What is the meaning of this? If the differential input voltage in the positive direction, if it goes above root 2 times VOV, then the entire current will shift to M1 side, the M2 side will become 0. So that is the maximum VID that you can apply. So what is again this VOV? VOV is the voltage required to have a current of I by 2 in that particular MOSFET. So in the graph we were writing, for a particular voltage this current will become 0. So this VID max is now root 2 times VOV. What is this voltage? It is minus root 2 times VO. So this way we can able to steer the entire current from one transistor to other transistor as the differential input voltage increases from 0 to a positive value. We'll go back to this simulation and try to find out how it happens. So let us do that. Let me just okay, let me delete this. This was for common mode. Let me just make it equal to, let me ground this. Let me name it as VID. Okay, let me just now we have again 1 milliampere current is flowing through this. Okay, I'm just dipping from 0 to 2 volt. Let me just okay, we can also we already found out what was VGS for this. VGS for this was equal to 1.1 volt. Then VID happens to be, sorry, VOV happens to be 0.7 volts. Of course, as we saw in the previous case, let me do .op for this. .op will give me what is, see now, okay, let me also do the, where is that, view this. Can you see the VTH is 0.4, VDS at is 0.6 for this. Okay, we'll just work out this and then show you the variation in the graph in the next video.